Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how I start my seeds. We're going to look at some little seeds and some big seeds into the seeding trays. We'll start with the little seeds. We're going to pop into these individual trays here. So when I'm sowing the little seeds into individual trays, I just make a little shallow indentation and I just pop, I don't know, 4 or 5 seeds. I tend to just be a little bit free and loose with my seeding because I will thin them later. A few seeds in there, excess back into the packet. And then, because they're the small seeds, I'm just going to drop a little bit of potting soil seed raising mix over the top. And that's little seeds, all done. Now, when you're doing bigger seeds, so I've got some peas here. It's pretty much the same, but they've got to go deeper. And I'm going to put 2 seeds into each pottle here because they're big and the plants are bigger when they come up. Pop them in. I'm going to push them quite a bit deeper. In they go. And instead of putting some mix over the top with the bigger seeds, I just squish gently the hole I've made shut. And that is all there is to it for seeds into those kinds of trays. All right, then when we're going to use a scatter tray or a non-individual tray, it's pretty much the same concept. Small seeds, you're just going to scatter across the surface of the tray. And pop a little bit over the top because we don't want to push them too far down. You can just gently amend the surface and a very gentle tap down, just so they're making contact with the top and bottom layers of soil we've put in there. And again, the same thing with the bigger seeds. You're going to push them down into the soil. And you're going to have to choose your positioning with these ones a little bit better because they're going to be a much larger plant. Larger seed makes a larger seedling. And again, we're just going to pinch the tops of those over. Now it's pretty easy to get the seed onto the soil. It's the easy bit. It's going to grow. Seed onto soil, if it's good seed, it's going to grow. The challenging bit is getting your light, temperature, and moisture right. So we're going to have a look at those ones now. So seedlings need a minimum temperature in the soil to actually start germinating. Summer active plants are going to need a higher soil germination temperature than winter active plants, but winter active plants are going to need at minimum of 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit to get actually cranking up out of the soil. So it's getting cold outside, everything's chilling down. How are you going to get your temperature? You can use a heating mat or a heating tray. It just heats the bottom of your seedling tray and keeps that temperature up so your plant can actually get going. But that means you're probably inside and then you have less light. So how are you going to get your seedlings enough light? I'll show you a quick and easy way to do that. All right, you can use one of these plant lights. So I have one that clips onto the shelf surface I use. You can also get freestanding ones. And that's just going to supplement the natural light that's coming in from your windowsill or wherever you've found to pop your seedlings, because seedlings need a lot of light. The more light they get, the faster they grow, the stronger they grow. Now we're going to talk about moisture management, which can be one of the most challenging parts in successful seed raising. So I have already planted the seeds into a seed raising mix that was perfectly moist and ready to go. Then what I like to do to keep it that way is to use a spray bottle and just spray the surface of those seedlings In summertime, sometimes I need to spray them twice a day, but I always need to spray them at least once a day because those seeds are not sitting too far below the surface, and we need to keep that nice and moist for them to germinate. Now, once they're up out of the ground with at least 2 leaves, I like to move to bottom watering, and I like to use my wheelbarrow for that. I'll show you how. Okay, so when I'm switching to bottom watering, I don't water until I see that the top of the potting soil, the soil raising mix, has dried out. So I wait to see and I feel that it has dried out because we don't want to overwater our seedlings. But what I'm going to do, pop it into my wheelbarrow that has a couple of inches of water sitting in it. And that is going to water the seed tray from the bottom up, which is going to encourage my seedlings to reach their roots down because that's where the moisture is going to be for them. So they're in there, it's soaking up into the soil from the bottom up, and then I just grab my hose on the mist setting and just briefly get that top layer wet. And then I leave them soaking up the water for 1-2 minutes. Then I bring them out and I take them back to where they live. So those are the most important factors when starting your seeds successfully. I've got another couple of hints and tips for you. The first one is using one of these little seed sower doodads. If you're going to be sowing a lot of the same variety, it's a real time saver. Just pop your seeds in it and away you go with as many trays as you need to fill with it. It stops you having to go back into the seed packet multiple times. Great time saver. The other thing, these little seedling pot hats, they help you with humidity management for your seedlings. For me, my climate is very humid, so I only use them until I start to see some green coming up. Then I take them off. If you're in a much drier climate than me, you might leave them on the entire time until you get to the 2-leaf stage. Really just depends on where you live in the world. So that's a great one for managing moisture. And the final and most important tip is, don't be like me, always label your seedling trays, or you're going to have a potentially unwelcome guessing game as to what seed went into what tray. That is how I like to start my seedlings. As always, any likes, comments, and subscriptions are greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching, guys.